All right, here we are. Let's do this. What's up, everyone? So today we have sort of two topics that go together: free stuff, freebies, and then inflation.
Ugh.
So money. We're talking, yeah. So today we're talking about money, and I'm here for it. So
and all the stresses.
I came across some articles that were talking about businesses removing freebies.
Oh, yes. I remember telling me this.
All sorts of stuff. So I kind of put it on the back burner and I was like, this is interesting. And then I saw something online. I think it was on Instagram, which is just really for, if you use it to advertise your business, great, but it's mostly for entertainment purposes, right? And there was, so this story is about an oyster.
Okay.
Right? So somebody had said something about an oyster and they were like, why has the price gone up? Like, you can just go to the ocean. You're not paying the ocean. The price doesn't go up for the oyster. Mm-hmm. And that's when I realized that most people don't understand money and inflation and how those things work.
Yeah.
So in my notes, I wrote LOL with oyster story.
I want to eat some oysters, but okay.
When you question stuff like that, you have to think, like, you have to realize, and I don't get how people don't get this, but like the cost of the boat to take the people to get the oyster went up. The cost of the fuel. Right. The cost of what
their supplies to get the oysters.
The cost of what the people need to make to live.
Right.
The cost of the boat pulling into the dock and then somebody offloading it and then the oyster being delivered. If there's a truck or a vehicle involved, the fuel's gone up for that. The lease could have gone up for that. The insurance could have gone up for that vehicle. The person driving the vehicle needs to make a living. Then it gets dropped off at a restaurant that has massive overhead. That's all increased. So that oyster does, in fact, cost more money to get to you. So if you want your oysters to not cost more money, I guess figure out how to get them yourself. But if you're looking for a nice cocktail sauce and a mignonette, and somebody to open those bad boys for you, like, that's how I like them.
Yeah.
I don't want to open them myself. No thanks.
Well, the cost of you going to get them yourself is going to cost more than you going to the restaurant to pay for the oysters. Yeah. And you'll soon realize why they're not free.
So,
or why they cost so much.
I wanted to talk about freebies because you have to account, like, I guess when you see big businesses doing this stuff, you can either do this, right? You can be annoyed and you're like, big business is taking advantage of people. Or if you're smart, yeah, I said it, you can wonder why they're taking these steps. Mm-hmm. And that's what I do. I wonder, why are these big businesses like Delta and whoever else in the air industry who are adjusting their rewards programs, why are they doing that? It's not simply to take advantage. A lot of times they're looking at stuff and thinking, is this working to its best ability? So I've got two little examples here. And the first one is Red Robin, right? Hamburger place. They do a free burger on your birthday.
Okay.
So now what they've done is you have to spend $4.99 on something else. And you get a free burger. So maybe you're buying a soft drink and fries. I don't know. I said soft drink.
You did.
Such a restaurant thing to say. You're buying a soda, but what you have to realize is that the business has to account for that free burger. It's free because people like to hear the word free, but it's not really free. They had to pay to get it. Right. Remember the trucks that deliver the oysters? Those guys deliver meat too.
Right.
And the buns, the person that and makes the cheese, and the lettuce, and the guy to flip it, or girl, or whatever. You know what I mean? And the people to clean up after. So they have to account, you have to account for stuff in your business, just like they're accounting for stuff in theirs. The other example I have is Sephora. So Sephora now requires you to spend $25 to get a gift delivered to you. And that is to cover the costs. I think it's a birthday gift. I don't have the article in front of me. I do. I don't feel like opening it. I'll be honest with the audience. If you want to get your gift in store, there's still no charge.
Gotcha.
But what they want to do is cover their costs. And we're also seeing big companies like Amazon even, who are now charging $1 fees for Amazon stores and things like that, or not Amazon stores, but
Returns.
for UPS returns. Yeah. So they've eliminated some of the free stuff. The QR code thing is now $1 where it used to be free. Why? Because probably 100 million people order a bunch of stuff and return it every day. And guess what? They have to pay for the trucks and the gas and everything. So either be annoyed or do a little homework and find out how this stuff can impact your business.
Right.
So I came across this list of facts, and there were like 100 of them. These are all to do with the hair industry and money.
Okay.
And spending habits. So we'll run through these. I didn't go through and dive very far into confirming some of this stuff, but here we are. So the first one is Americans spend on average $110 every month on beauty, fitness, and wellness.
Okay.
Women average 124, men are 94. So if you have a 3-month client, that's $330 average they're spending with you each service, right? Probably more. I know ours is probably more than that, but that's the national average. Last night I told you this fact, and it was not a fact because my number was way off, but I reversed it. So I said 85%, I think, but it was 58. So 58% of Americans say that they will not cut beauty spending despite a looming recession. I thought that was interesting.
Yes. I love that. I mean,
well, what do you do with that information? That's what I love.
Yeah, I don't know.
You get over the fact that you are uncomfortable raising your prices. People are literally telling you they're not going to cut you.
More than half, yeah.
And you don't want to raise your prices.
I think also you level up that client experience because they're not going to cut you.
Right. And with inflation and things like that, if you're not doing regular price increases, and regular for you could be a year, could be every other year, it could be however you want to structure it.
Yeah.
I've seen people do it every 3 months. I've seen people do one and then 6 months later do another one. It's up to you. They've all worked. None of the people that I know have gone out of business. Not because of that.
Right.
All right, moving on. This one's interesting because this is growing, but 25% of consumers claim they will only buy eco-friendly beauty products. Over 3/4 are concerned about environmental impacts of the products that they buy.
Cool.
So what do you do with that? I think that market is expanding, so maybe that's something you look into if it fits your business model.
I think you also take that if you do sell retail.
92%. I'm just kidding.
If you do sell retail in your business, a lot of that statistic you just gave, a lot of product lines are already online or on board with that statistic.
Sure.
Meaning, even if you're not selling clean beauty products and people are looking for those, and I don't think people even understand when they're looking for that, what that means, but I digress. A lot of companies, I digress. Thank you.
I diverse.
Oh gosh, I need a coffee. Are probably they're using recycling packaging or they're doing things to affect the environment positively. So that would be your job to figure out whatever products you're carrying, what are they doing that's great for the environment? So if a client comes in like, I'm looking for clean beauty or I'm all about recycling. Oh, okay. Well, we may not be clean beauty and we may not recycle here, but the products we carry, this is what they do to impact the environment in a positive manner. You may already have that story may already exist with what you're carrying. You just don't know the story yet because you haven't done any research. So if that percent, you're like, oh, I like that. I'm into the environment. Find out what you've got on your shelves and what are they doing to positively impact the environment and tell that story. So I think the statistics could be like, what is that story for you and where does that work for you?
Of course. That's why I wanted to bring these together and present them to our audience because it's like this data. And
product lines are already working with these statistics to meet them too.
Of course. Yeah. The $1 billion companies, I think the top conglomerate right now is like 36 billion. That's the market.
I just picture people hearing it like, oh, what do I need to change? You may not need to change anything.
Well,
the companies you endorse might already be doing that. You just need to figure out what does that look like for you.
How do you leverage it?
That's all.
Yeah. And slow down. You don't necessarily need to like rip everything out and change everything.
Yeah, that's why I said the clean beauty thing. Like, not everybody really even understands. I feel what that is,
and then maybe maybe you do need to rip everything down. It depends what your goals are. So the next little stat I had here was 92% of buyers, that's a high amount, claim that they'd be more loyal to cosmetic brands that support environmental or social causes.
Again, just do your research.
So what I would warn you is to be careful of just jumping on a cause blindly, because we see that a lot on social media. You just monkey see, monkey do. Someone did something and you think, I'm an activist too. Be careful, because when you're talking in percents of 90s, that's also a lot of people you could piss off if you choose the wrong thing.
Correct.
So be careful. We're
agree. Seeing
that again. I think I said this recently when we were recording, but we're seeing that in big business in the United States. It's who do you support? What presidential candidate do you want? What social causes? All these things.
I think, and personally, you can have whatever you want to be, but if you want your business to be open to as many people that want to visit it, you do have to be careful of how you align yourself. And
if you've done any sort of business planning at all, you've identified your target clients and you've identified them to the point where you know what they're looking for. You know where they spend their time, you know where they spend their money, or at least you have a really good idea of it, and you don't have to guess.
Right.
If you're guessing, you're eventually going to make mistakes that are devastating, because if you're not guessing, you're going to make mistakes. They're just less devastating because you're not fucking guessing.
Right.
All right. True. Moving on. Unless, did I cut you off?
No.
Okay.
That worked.
That, by the way, was by Forbes.
Okay.
So this next one, 67% of beauty shoppers turned to social media influencers for information about beauty products.
I see that all the time.
Before making a purchase. Followed by third-party reviews at 59%. And you know who was last? Professionals. Beauty pros came in at 55%. And that statistic came from Harvard Business School. So what can you do with that? You can establish yourself as an authority in your industry, in your niche, in your town, in your hair specific thing or nail specific thing or whatever.
Yes.
Establish yourself as an industry expert and try to recover some of that, because a lot of the influencers why I think this also is swayed towards influencers is because I was just reading an article about how influencers are spending way more money on ads.
Oh, it makes sense.
So they're influencing. Their whole job is to get eyes on whatever they're trying to get the public to buy, right? And they're just better at it than you are because they're focused.
Yeah.
And they have a plan. All right, let's move on. 44% of beauty salons said they were focusing on growing their social media profiles. This was from 2022.
Okay.
While 35% of hair pros claim their growing social media following was the biggest opportunity. Their social media following was the biggest opportunity for business growth. 35%. That's probably accurate. So I would tend to disagree with that. I think social media is like a lot less valuable than other marketing tactics.
Completely agree with that.
And we've done a lot of other, I'm not just guessing.
Yeah.
I have information
I'm with
and
you
all
on that
sorts of
100%.
stuff.
I think social media is a very, very small part of that.
We do get a lot of people that come in and that are like, I found your Instagram and I loved it and I scrolled through and I thought the pictures were great and it was organized and it looked cohesive, and that stuff is important, but it's not our whole.
It's not the majority of what's coming in. It's not the majority
of focus, and yeah, we can touch on it later. I think I might have some stuff in my notes about it. 92% of a salon's income is from cutting, styling, and color services.
No surprise there.
8% are retail sales.
And for those of you that is surprising, wake up. Unless you are a retail store, your retail is not making you a ton of money.
No,
I don't know why people think it is.
So there are ways to make money, and we're not going to get into them right now. There are plenty of ways to make money selling products, but you're going to have to focus on selling products. You have to figure out what you want to do.
Correct.
We say this every episode. That's have to figure out where you want to focus. If you want to be a retail-driven place, be a retail-driven place. That's awesome.
Yes.
We have people that will call. I had a woman call. She was upset. I thought she was going to cry. I felt bad, but She asked for a product and I was like, we don't carry that. I can get it for you, or you can use our link on our website. And she was like, but I need it. And I was like, that doesn't change the fact that I don't have it. I don't know what to tell you.
We're not a retail shop.
It's not our focus. We have a good amount of retail.
We do hair.
Yeah, we do hair and we have fun.
Yeah.
We do have a good amount of product, but it's curated so that it's like the things that we want our clients to leave with from specific services.
Yeah. And if they do need stuff, we have ways to get it to them.
This is a sad statistic. This one's from ZipRecruiter.
Okay.
ZipRecruiter. As of December 2022, the average hourly wage of a hairstylist in the United States was, take a guess.
$10?
$18.
Better than I thought.
And in 2019, it was $11.78. That's not good. That's not good. We need to get that up. So what do you do with that information? You use it to think about how you can get more money in people's pockets and create more opportunities.
I think there's that, but I think
probably need to increase your prices.
Yes, for sure. And you may need to increase like your way of working. Like I think I see a huge trend in people wanting to work 2 days, 1 day, maybe 3. So if you're only working, let's say 15 hours a week at $18 an hour, it's wicked part-time. That's maybe not that bad. I don't know. Like, it depends on...
It depends what you want.
There's a shift in where people are and how much effort they want to put in. And so if you don't want to put in the effort and you don't want to put in the time, I mean, that hourly rate or whatever that is that you're taking home might be enough for you.
Yeah, it's funny because you see all these people that follow... Well, I don't see the people that follow, but you see lots of people following these influencers that are like, you can get to 6 figures, which is really an arbitrary number.
Yeah.
We personally know people that do multiple 6 figures in the hair industry world of services. So you can get there.
Yeah, it can be done.
But it's not by liking someone's post.
Correct.
It's about taking action.
And it's not by just showing up and sitting around and hoping that people come into your salon.
And it's certainly not by working 2 days and taking the rest of the week off. Right. That's not, if that's your focus for doing hair, you're not going to get to 6 figures. I promise you.
Right.
Like how many haircuts?
If you're not building relationship with those clients, there's so many, like I love where you're at with the numbers should be higher, but I don't think people always understand the work it takes to get there. It's not just because you went to cosmetology school and you're in a salon or you're doing hair that you just deserve that. There is a ton of effort and work and consistency within that gets you to keep going, building that rate to go up and that 6 figure to finally arrive for you. It does not happen overnight, and it doesn't happen just because you want it to.
The reason that I think it should be higher is because I think that people that are leading in the industry, whether you're a salon owner or in a leadership role somewhere, is you should be working on not only keeping up with inflation, but outpacing it. Mm-hmm. And that's your responsibility. If you're not comfortable with it, reach out. Yep. We can either help or, I don't know, I offered recently to buy somebody's salon. Mm-hmm. I'll take it. You know what I mean? So either way. This one is interesting and just, I guess, a little fun fact, but beauty salons account for 95% of industry revenue, which means barbershops get 5%. What do you do with that? Well, barbershops, I think, are drastically underpriced.
I would agree.
So, and for anybody that's like, because I see this movement on social media that's like barbers are ripping people off, charging whatever they're charging, whether it's $40, $100, $200 a cut. If there's a market for you to charge $100 for a cut, $200 for a cut, you better be fucking charging that for a cut because you're worth it.
Same thing if you're on...
Don't adjust your prices because somebody online said that you should. That's not your target client, one. And I saw this other guy and I absolutely cannot stand hashtags. But this dude said, I'm not here to work for free. I don't even know who it is. It was somebody randomly on social media. And he said, profits over passion. And I was like, fuck yeah. Why are you here to make money? It's not it. Why are you here to make money? Why are you in business?
Right.
It needs to be for making money. You can have passion. You can be an artist or whatever. You can provide great services and you can do all that stuff with integrity, but you also need to make profit.
Yeah.
Otherwise you don't have a business.
Correct.
Were you going to say something before I hit you?
I said, I hear of it all the time, like barbershops that are, nobody can get in for the next 2 weeks or whatever. All of those places, you have the ability to raise your prices, because if there's that much of a wait coming in, then you absolutely would be safe to do so. It's crazy to me. I don't know. There's just this industry, like I feel, I don't know what the word is, but where like barbers are supposed to all be priced at just this one level and you can't go above. And if you do, it's like a small percent that does. And that's just not true.
Right. About 70% of women in the US invest in hair coloring and styling. So What do you do with that? 70% of what? How many women are in the country?
You're not actually asking.
So there are about, I want to say 330, 350 million people. I think in the United States, we're pretty close to 50-50. And then you have to account for the amount of people under a certain age that aren't getting, hair coloring, styling, and that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. So if you looked at say even 100 million women, there's 70 million women investing in coloring and styling. You start to be like, maybe this market's not too saturated. You know what I mean? So it's like when you hear stuff like that, it's like, there are so many heads.
I say it all the time. So many.
So
there's enough for y'all.
If I were you, I would focus on, because that number, 70 million or whatever, that's too big of a number for you to fathom. You're never going to service even 1 million people or even thousands. So you want to find your target clients, right? That's what that stat tells me. They're out there. Mm-hmm. These ones here were just sort of for fun, these last two. So the U.S. state with the most expensive men's haircut is Delaware.
Oh, yeah, you told me this.
$42, which is interesting. That seems low to me. West Virginia. Did they say y'all there?
Did you?
Do they? Does West Virginia?
I don't know.
Anyways, West Virginia, y'all are the cheapest, averaging $15 per men's cut. That's... seems crazy to me, but at the same time, I don't know what's going on there or where this is, like, what's it based on.
Right.
Obviously, people are charging more, but if 15 is the average, that means people are also charging less.
Yeah.
So I don't get how you're, surviving off of $5, but here we are. You want to guess the most expensive for a women's cut? You could probably guess. It's one of two states, right?
New York or California?
So it's California. And the price averages $93.
Okay.
Which still seems low to me.
Yeah, I don't know.
81% more than a haircut in Wyoming that is around $17.
Jesus.
Yeah. So I don't know what's going on there. But those were some fun
interesting
numbers. Stats, because I
Yeah.
wanted people to start thinking about just money, but not necessarily like, I'm not a numbers person. Well, you need to be, first of all. And you have to appreciate math and understand the basics of numbers and what it can do for even your thinking. Like, hopefully when I read at least one of those, you were like, oh,
yeah, I
can do this, or I should try this, or whatever, right? That's why we're here. All right, let's get back to eliminating freebies. We can kind of rip through this if you want.
Okay.
First thing that it's going to help you do is keep your costs under control.
Correct.
That should be obvious. Those freebies can add up. So
they do.
You could be doing we don't charge for consultations.
Correct.
But I guarantee you somewhere out there is marketing free consultations, and that's their whole thing, and they're not seeing a return on that time. Mm-hmm. You need to change that.
Right.
Additional services, complimentary products, the gift bags when people come in, the beer and wine that you want to offer, even the bottle of water. Like, those are all a cost on the business that you have to pay attention to. Otherwise, that's going to just kill, your profit.
Your bottom line.
Yeah, your bottom line. So I'm not saying don't do those things. I'm just saying account for those things.
Yeah. Understand what it's doing. If at the end of the year you're like, why are we not more profitable? Well, if you're not looking at the whole picture, that's why.
For sure. Yeah. The next thing I had in my notes was the profit margins, which is like sort of what we just talked about. Freebies can just reduce that. Your costs of those things are going to go up as well. So if you're not accounting properly for those, the cost that you take on for putting together like a new guest or a new client gift bag,
yes,
that cost goes up year after year.
Right.
So you need to figure out and adjust for that.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, eventually, it's going to outpace you and you can't keep up.
Right.
Client expectations. This is a big one. So sometimes when you offer stuff, people become unrealistic with it. They become ridiculous. And they expect all these like perks and stuff, and they lose what the intent is. They lose why are they here? So I have a quick story. Okay. I had a small gym for like 10 years, and I tried all the different things, right? All the little amenities. We were a CrossFit gym, so there wasn't a whole ton of stuff back in the day for CrossFit gyms. We were more of like a garage sort of situation.
Mm-hmm.
I got a water bubbler, right? You know, the Poland Springs 5-gallon water bubblers. And I was like, I'm going to put this in the gym and people can just have water. No big deal, right? What's it cost? A few dollars a month, whatever. So I made the mistake. I had at least one person I can remember specifically show up with their kids that didn't go to the gym. So now there's no money coming in for this cost. I watched them because our gym had a roll up door, big garage door. I watched them pour out water bottles. This one woman had a water bottle that was the size of yours. What is that? A 1/2 gallon?
Yeah, I think so.
And then the two kids they must have been liters. So you're talking almost a gallon. I watched them pour out the warm water in their bottles outside, come in and fill up these gallon jugs of water. And I was thinking like, this is killing me because I'm paying for this water thinking it's a nice gesture, but here are people that they don't care. They're not, and they shouldn't. I put the water there. I said, have some water. But eventually that adds up. That's a fifth of that gallon bottle or a fifth of that 5-gallon bottle now that's gone. So you're talking 20% that's not accounted for.
When we used to have one at my last salon, it was a playground for kids too. And I'd come out and have all these cups full of water. I'm like, are you...
All over the place.
All over the place. Right. Like that was just fun for them. And the moms didn't care. They were like, it's keeping them busy. I'm like, okay.
You're wasting water. You're wasting cups. Yeah. So anyways, something you can do is think about like some sort of alternative. You could do a loyalty program, maybe a referral program, a bonus, some sort of packages that you account for. Don't just do packages and take 50% off because people are buying packages. Don't do that. But you can find ways to incentivize repeat business without sacrificing profit.
Yeah.
That was the whole freebies segment there.
I think it's a good one. And I think that it's important to talk about because you see these freebies all the time.
I see salons giving away so much stuff.
So do I. And there's just different ways, like you said, to incentivize or get clients excited about things that don't impact your bottom line. And if you're already running a pretty tight ship with that, you're not in the business to give freebies. It's just not where you're at. So you'll have to find different ways, which could be just upping the perceived value in your space and just making that client feel amazing. Like, don't discount that. That is a big deal. If you're doing a great customer service, like the client's coming there to see you, to get their hair done, and that could be all they need. You don't need to add a bunch of crap on top of it to make it feel different. You're probably worth enough of it.
No, I have this a little further down. So we're going to dive into dealing with inflation, which lines up with eliminating freebies, but increasing your perceived value can just be stepping up your game.
Yeah.
It could be just doing the little things really, really well.
Yeah.
Being virtuous. So take the common things that you do every day, like your shampoo service. How can you up that?
Right.
remembering to take someone's coat when the weather turns. Like those little touches are going to make a huge impact on your business over time if you're consistent and if you do them well.
Right.
You can't just do it for a week and then be like, that didn't fucking work. Well,
yeah, that's not enough time to understand if something worked or didn't work.
So yeah, increasing perceived value is a huge way to combat inflation. How about just adjusting your prices? Look, stuff increases. You don't have to go on social media and tell everyone. We all know.
Don't have to apologize for it.
Don't apologize. No one cares. At the same time, I do think that it's important to be transparent in person with your clients. Don't just raise your price and then be like, well, I raised my price. This is why I'm anti posting price increases on social media as your strategy.
Right.
Because your clients aren't even seeing that.
No.
So you can pin it to your Instagram. No one is seeing it. No one's doing research on your Instagram. What would be better to increase their perceived value is you taking the time to explain to them, hey, not this time, but next time I see you, the price will be this.
And then stop talking.
Yeah, you can coach through that a different episode, but yeah, just having prices that make sense for today's market. $17 and $15 for haircuts is not it. Cost management. So like actively manage your business costs. Look at ways to streamline your operations. Maybe there's a company you deal with that would negotiate with you for whatever, some sort of supplies, or maybe there's ways to reduce wastage. That's always going to make clients happy too when you're working on that, because it's a cause they can get behind. Nobody wants to kill the planet. Nobody's like, let's kill this planet. I've never met anyone that said that. So I think we can stop saying save the planet and just start taking some active steps instead of just being slacktivists and posting about it. So, I don't know, maybe you get with we're going to set up a meeting with our accountant to go through ways to streamline our business coming up soon.
Which we do.
You should do
often.
that. Financial planning. You need a financial plan. What are your numbers going to look like in the future? What do they look like now? What did they look like in the past?
Right.
And then measure off of that. Hopefully things have gone up in the last, if you've been open for 5 years and your numbers haven't increased, you're measuring against that. Don't measure against what's coming in the future. Measure against where you came from, because that's real.
Right.
Because I can say my business is going to generate $10 million in revenue next year, but so could anybody. You have to measure against what you were to where you are now, and then use that as a way to calculate where you're going to be in the future. Again, get with your accountant. And then diversification. So as long as it fits within our plan, we're always open with our staff. Like we had a staff member recently that wanted to do nails, something she's passionate about. Guess what we did? We built out a space. You can have this space, and we're going, and she's happy. But now we're offering a new service. It still fits under Hello. We're not a nail salon, but we do offer nails. Recently we brought on an esthetician. We have the space. We wanted to work with the person. She's awesome. So we're going to make that happen.
Right.
It fits the vision. It fits the mission of our business plan. So it's just a way to diversify and to offer some supplemental services that you don't have to get crazy if you're not into, say, hair extensions, but you're like, but I know people that make money. Well, yeah, I know people that make money doing everything. Right. So don't get crazy if it doesn't fit what you want to do, but play within the rules that you've hopefully built. And I will say, do you have anything else to add?
No.
I didn't want to kill the inflation. I wanted to just be quick with it because I know people get like bored. But the thing I want to close with is that this stuff is important and it's possible whether you're comfortable with it or not.
Right.
Right. At a certain point. So people are doing this. People are raising the bar with their pricing. People are working with accountants to streamline their salons. It's not just a hobby, but like business.
Right.
And at a certain point, your business just can't survive without revenue.
Yeah.
Like we see places.
If you still want to keep serving these people, you're going to have to make these changes.
Right. If you want to serve your clients, you're going to have to make changes so that you can survive.
Right.
Because
so you can stay in the game.
We see places that choose to stay complacent and then all of a sudden they just close up shop.
Yeah.
And
that did you no good.
They didn't build a business, so there's nothing can be done. You can't sell it because there's nothing to sell.
Right.
Your equipment is nothing. You don't have a business plan. You don't have anything.
And you rent your space most often. So what are you're not selling?
Right. What am I buying? So anyways, hopefully that episode made you think about money in a different way. And steal, not money, but ideas. Go out and look at the statistics. Go out and look at big companies. What are they doing? Because they're ahead of you. They've already thought about this stuff.
They have the resources to be ahead. Yeah.
Yes.
So.
And you have the resources to just follow along.
Right.
Stand on their shoulders.
Yep.
And if you don't want to support big business, that's great. Build something else that is going to challenge them then, which would be another big business. So best of luck. Anyways, see you next week. Bye, everyone.